All right, so
but does it make a difference if the border is not closed? No. I think most of these people will simply come back. Now, you know, I think that that's the real issue. It's the border. Now, I used to be more liberal, I would say, or libertarian on border issues, but I think that it has to be the first step.
Now that jobs are hard to find in journalism, all of a sudden you want to close the borders.
No, I actually
those damn illegal journalists that are doing it for half the price.
No, I think that kind of immigration can help the economy actually.
All right, well then let's broaden this. First of all, do you want Colorado to take a variation of this? And it's interesting because that could become a fight for the governor's office here. You've got Hickenlooper, who doesn't want to admit that there's a sanctuary city here. You've got McGinnis, who says, yeah, bring it on. You've got your paper, which doesn't seem to be too happy about that law and took McGinnis to task for saying he'd do it. But I wonder, is this going to be an issue for Colorado?
Well, there's probably no way that I can think of it becoming an issue before the election, other than rhetorically, people talking about it. Yes, I like it. No, I don't. I don't think there may be a bill in the Congress, I mean, in the state legislature, that can be amended, you know, with something like this that could start a fight. I don't think it'd pass.
In the remaining week or so.
Right. But you just don't have enough time there to do this. And on the other hand, certainly the governor's not going to do it. So, and there's probably not enough time if you wanted to put it on the ballot through the initiative process. We all know the kind of problems we have there. So I don't think it's going to happen. But again, except to talk about it, I think it's a good idea. I certainly would talk about it. 60-some% of the people of Colorado support it. So I think Scott is on the right track with it, and make Hickenlooper defend being a sanctuary city mayor. Make the Denver Public Schools defend what they just did in this whole thing about letting kids off, demanding that the teachers and administrators saying that they can't go to Arizona. And this is the most, here's a school system, 50% of the kids in this school system
don't graduate.
Of those that do, half have to, no, of those that do and then go on to college, which is just a small percentage, half of those kids have to be remediated. Here's a school system that is completely bankrupt. It cannot, both literally and figuratively, it cannot possibly handle its own charge, its own responsibility. And it gets into this battle?
Well, actually, what I liked about it is because then DPS finally started acting like the Boulder City government. You know, we're a nuclear-free zone where I live. So I'm glad that DPS is taking on the big issues.
I've never agreed with the congressman so often, so it's kind of just disturbing in a way. No offense, but you know the thing is, who do you hurt with a boycott like that? You hurt the hospitality industry in Arizona, which is Latinos work in them. It just doesn't make any sense on any level for that kind of boycott to happen.
But it just shows you how I found it really insulting. No matter how you feel on the Arizona law. Yeah. This guy's job, the superintendent's job, and the school board is to educate our kids. You got half of them failing out of school.
Political. He's currying favor with some board members who don't like. Yeah,
what go to Boulder if you want to do that.
Lincoln High. Do you know whether or not they were? I mean, I know they all went on a protest march, right? The kids went out. I don't know this, but I was just wondering: was it sanctioned by the school district? Did they say, yeah, you can let these kids out today for that purpose? I know that, you know, about all of them went out the door. I'm told that about 3/4 went this way. A few, they went to the marijuana district, you know, what do you call the
dispensaries?
Dispensaries, right. but all the rest were, well, maybe they were looking for the dispensaries, saying, you know, who let them out? I mean, is that instead of teaching what little education may go on in that school, they're going to actually provide time for them to go protest? Oh, give me a break.
You are so damn old-fashioned. You don't know anything. All right, let's bring it back to your failed job as a congressman.
Yes, I did. You know, I failed.
So now we've got the president saying it's time for immigration reform. And all of us agree it's time for immigration reform. None of us seem to agree on what immigration reform means. Right. And part of me says, you know, go for it. Try to do an amnesty bill now, because if you do, it's going to backfire on Obama, just like health care, I think, is going to backfire on him in the elections this fall. But what is it from a close the borders guy to a used to be open borders guy? Then what are we looking for here that is a reasonable and politically possible thing to do? Let's bring it over here first.
You know, I wrote about this, but I think there are issues, healthcare, so forth, where there are ideological divides that can't be bridged, right? On immigration, I don't think that that's there. I think most Americans like the idea of immigration. They just want controlled immigration on some level, and just I just want people to check in so I know who's coming and going and what's going on. Also, there is the issue of the welfare state that's growing. So now are we going to allow everyone who comes in to partake of that? That's a big problem for me, and that's why I've changed a little bit on the issue. But I think most Americans agree that immigration is good, but illegal immigration isn't, and that's where you start. How you start, I'm not sure. I think first you need enforcement, because there's no way that Tom Tancredo is going to probably be for any sort of reform if there isn't first a closing of the border. So I think that would be the first step.
But isn't it, let me bring it this way, if we could wave the magic wand, and if there's 30 million illegals, which is one of the top numbers I've heard, that means 1 out of every 10 people here is illegal. I just don't know how you possibly afford to pull a tenth of the population out, throw them over some imaginary wall, and not have economic devastation here. Doesn't there have to be, as we protect the borders, as we build up some sort of workable defense, doesn't there also have to be an increase in legal guest workers at the same time?
What's the difference between an illegal alien and a legal alien when you have 10% unemployment? What's the difference? Why would you bring anybody into this country through either, I mean, you know, it doesn't matter. Do you have, right now, 180,000 people a month? That's what we bring in legally. So how many more do you think we should bring in, Dave? I mean,
I don't know. There's an organic, how many companies need to work for that?
Well, that's okay. Oh, this is an interesting, so that our policy, our immigration policy, should be based on what the business or the industries in America say they need for labor. Well, do you really believe that there is a finite number there? Because if you can do it, of course, and you recognize that all those people coming will work for less than the people you are presently employing, then I just don't know how far you can string that out.
Well, they're typically low-skilled workers.
That's right.
And they remain that way, I think, because of the situation that they're in. They can't really, an illegal immigrant can't move to the next level. His kids probably don't have as good an opportunity. It's their own fault. I'm not blaming anyone for that. I think we need to fix the system to allow that kind of economic growth to happen. The economy is not a pie where, you know, it doesn't grow, you know that, and so we shouldn't treat it that way.
Well, I agree, but I'm still asking you, how many, when you have 10% unemployment, how many more people? 180,000 a month, that's who come in now. That's how many we have every month coming into this.
Reference that number for me. When you say 180,000, are those illegals? Or
No. These are legal.
Under which program?
Well, under a variety of all of them, but they're almost all coming in on some sort of work-related program. They have a visa to work in the United States.
Are those skilled laborers? I mean,
very few.
Are we talking agricultural guys who come over to pick the fruit?
Another interesting point. Agricultural. Let's look at that. H1A, H1A, H2A. I can't remember, but people who to do agricultural work. Okay, there's no limit. You know, there is no limit on that number. You could have 10 million people come in under that particular program today, and has been for years and years and years and years. There are no limits. Now, why don't we use them? There's a reason. Because somebody is willing to work for less than you would have to pay under that program. You have to provide some sort of health care. You have to provide some sort of housing. You know, okay. Here's my choice. I am the farmer. I'm looking at this program under which I can bring in labor legally. This guy, all these people over here at the Home Depot parking lot, that I don't have to worry about that for. And so, which one am I going to pick? But when you say, let's.
Well, but that's a systematic. That's the problem with the system, not with the labor. Do you know what I'm saying?
It's also a problem with the fact that the borders are porous.
Why do you say that it's a problem with the system?
Well, because we have an illegal system where labor flows and you can hire them for very low amounts. You don't have to worry about their health care and so forth. And you have the legal avenue, which is much more expensive. We have to somehow even it out so that people can come without any onerous sort of. I do want their health care taken care of because it's a big problem. But we need them to come in and not cost as much for people to hire. It's simple as that. We can't have them illegally coming in because it's undermining the natural market.
I got some new information here. Let me see if I'm understanding you right, Tom. Right. That under the agricultural visa, basically, worker permit.
I can't remember if it's H1 or H2A. But
H1, H2A, whatever it is. You're saying that is unlimited.
That's correct.
It means that the people who are the employers have to provide basic levels of health care, basic levels of housing, needs to have some sort of immigrant housing or migrant worker housing. So if we close down the borders today, let's say that the Tooth Fairy came, dropped down a 30-foot brick wall, people could still come in, but they'd have to go through that system.